What up, world? Is Mac. Tell me something slick and make it stick. Yeah, I'm back. But I'm back with a special guest. Let me tell you about this guy here, my man Owen. Listen, when I was a young beginning author, man, Owen spotted me. He saw what I was doing. He reached out to me. He said, "Hey, man, I think I can help you out, man. I think I can bring you more exposure to your project." And he certainly did. I am super excited to talk to you about this guy. But more importantly, I'm going to let him tell his story when we get back from the intro. Stay tight, stay tuned. Cigar Chaps and Mac will be back in 1 second. And my man Owen's going to tell you exactly what he does. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, my guy. My guy, man.
First and foremost, man, that intro was something else. I wish we could be in person sharing a cigar. I know that time will come, but what an intro. Let's go.
Hey, man. Hey, thank you, bro. We definitely got to get a cigar in. First of all, man, I would love for you to introduce yourself to the people, give them a little bit of your background. You know, I know you were a hooper at UConn. Oh, damn, I already said that. I know you got some basketball skills, but tell them a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I do have the framed jersey, and I will clarify the details in a moment, not to give myself too much of a big head. But yeah, you know, grew up in New Jersey, went to school up in Rhode Island, then Connecticut, got involved with the basketball team at Rhode Island pretty early on. And full disclaimer, not as a great Division I athlete, but I got involved just on the staff as a manager because I wanted to get close to the team. I saw Coach Hurley was up to something good. For the basketball fans out there, that's my man who just obviously took the chip for 2023 at UConn. So I was with him for 4 years. He got the UConn job, elevated me as a graduate assistant, which was a dream come true. But it was really during those days where I saw just his day-to-day work ethic and the excellence he was putting into his life, and reading books, listening to podcasts, putting the right information into your ear were all aspects that I was just like this massive sponge for. So that moved into really trying to share books I was reading. That's how me and Mac got linked up.
Yeah.
But it was really the purpose for it to start wasn't even to create a business, wasn't even to really make impact. It was to find a community of like-minded people. And that's kind of the focus of it all to begin with. You know, listen, I love the people who I grew up with. I mean, I've had a lot of fortunate friends over the years, but it's clear that most people don't take the entrepreneurial risk-taking route as I had that bug for a long time I can remember. So this community building was just this like birth of excitement and people I could connect with. And then, you know, the business came about on its own when I started to grow the following and I started to realize I had this level of attention with this specific group of people, which happened to be nonfiction, business, and self-help readers. And then it came to a point where it was like, oh, we can really provide some value to these authors, whether they already have a big audience or even if they have nothing or no one knows who they are. We have this attention of people that are looking for their next book. So let's team up with authors, create some amazing content for them, and then push it out to those readers. So the journey's been basketball to books to business, which I like to say the triple Bs, and did not have that written up for myself. It's, you know, part of what God had planned for me and just kind of went with it. So it's a bit of the story.
Man, thank you, man. That's a great synopsis, man. I mean, you took, you know, your whole life and you just summed it up for us in a few, minutes, man. I appreciate that. Let me ask you this. You know, I'm passionate about books, and I wouldn't be who I am, you know, without books. I've never been a person that really cared about the classroom, but the library, you're gonna have a hard time getting me out the library. You know, the power of reading, I can't even explain to people what it does. I've tried. I encourage people to do it. Let me ask you this: what's the one book on you said that changed your life? Because for me, I'll tell you, I'll start it off, and I know it's not cliche, but it truly was, man. Think and Grow Rich, man. What book for you was the book that changed your life from a personal development standpoint?
Yeah, that's the $1,000,000 question, right? That a lot of people ask me. It's always tough to choose one, but I do
Right.
have one that I always lean back on,
Okay.
and it's a byproduct of building the business I've built is I could become friends with these authors that I love their books. So that's been the case with this author. But the book's called The Third Door by Alex Banayan, and essentially that book it validated a life I was already living. So that's where it gave me the confidence that I was I was going down the right path. Now, the basis of the book is this kid essentially leaves college and he goes on this 3-4 year journey to meet Bill Gates, Quincy Jones, Pitbull, all these really famous people, whether they're in the arts, the music, business, whatever. And his goal was to figure out how they got started. Like, what was the beginning mindset that they have? Because, and Mac, maybe you agree with this. Like, I don't really care when you become 30, 40, 50 and your name's in lights. Like, hopefully we all have that moment if we have that journey of
Preach.
towards what we're looking to do.
Preach.
What were you doing at 18? And
Come on.
Ghetto Diamond's perfect for this. Cause like, what were you doing at 20? What were you doing at 25? Like, how were you getting your, like, who were you at those moments that built you into the person that now everyone knows you as, because now you're in the whatever, the magazines, etc.
Come on now. Exactly.
So he pinpointed that journey with all these people, and the general message is that they all took this third door. So let's picture a nightclub. Everyone's got the front door where every average person or day-to-day person's got to wait in line, right? In the rain and whatever, we all got to wait in that front line.
That's right.
Then you got the side door, whereas the influencers and celebrities and the high-class people can pass through. But there's always that third door. It's like through the apartment, above the club, down the fire escape, through the kitchen, like whatever way. If you've seen Goodfellas, which is my favorite movie of all time.
Of course, I've seen Goodfellas.
they're going through the kitchen. They're going through the kitchen to make their way to the club. So and I was living that life already. I was messaging the CMO of the Red Sox at 18 years old. I was messaging the VP of PR with the Knicks, trying to get a job with the Knicks, which was my hometown team. And when I read that book, it was pretty much just like, whoa, like first off, there's other people with this mindset, so I'm not alone. And then secondly, this kid's done it at heights that I didn't even think of. I got to raise my standards. So that book is something I give everyone, when they first want to get into reading, but it's an awesome book for sure.
You said something. Now let me annex my book. What Makes the Great Great by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. And he did a journey, and he interviewed a lot of different successful people. And I love what you just said on. I know who you are at your crescendo moment. I get it. You're big time. You already hit it. I don't need you to tell me about your life now. But what were you thinking when you thought it wasn't going to happen? What were those days like? Take me through the dog years. I want to know the struggle. Like you said, what was the journey for you to become who you are today? I don't need to know nothing about. I get it. I see you. I know you made it. But tell me about when you doubted yourself. And so for me, the books, man, they give us that, man. They give us that. They give us the journey, man. They give us
I mean, it's like where else could you get, whatever, 3 to 4 hours worth of work, or how can you spend 3 or 4 hours and pretty much learn someone's whole life from start to finish, whether they're here or they're past? Like, there's no other real medium or like whatever content asset that you can capture that info. Like maybe in a movie, but the movie is pick and choosing the highlight reel still. Maybe they'll share some of the despair, but the book is really where it's like you can capture the emotion, you can capture the pain. And if you're going through moments of that, or you feel like you haven't made it or whatever, like for me, at least, that's just like powerful stuff that you could latch onto to keep knowing that, your time's coming, or it's not even about it even coming. Just enjoy the process and enjoy the ups and downs of what life has for you.
Yeah, and to add to that, like you said, a lot of people enjoy the movies, but the movies are that's a distilled version of the book if it's coming from somebody's book. And that's Hollywood wanting to extract what they think is sexy and exciting. I want to know the ugly stuff, man. Give me the ugly stuff and let me determine and decipher what's, what I like from it. I don't want you to tell me, oh, well, this is probably a highlight. No, I want to hear about the time, he was homeless. I want to hear about the time the guy lost his car. I want to hear the real truth, man. So, you know, that's important for me. But just pivoting a little bit on new authors, man. What's your, and I know you get this question a million times. Oh, I want to write a book. How do I get started? What do I do? What's your advice? Because I know I'm going to have a million people, and why you didn't ask them? I'm asking him now. What's the $1,000,000 advice? Y'all go contact my friend Owen and pay him. But what's the $1,000,000 advice for people who want to start books or feel that they, man, you know what, that they have a story to share? Where do they start at?
Yeah, great question. And we could talk about this obviously for hours. One thing I really try to push people toward or thinking towards is that you really got to see the book as a stepping stone, but more as like a tool or a vehicle for people to get warmed up into your world. Like, I didn't know who you were, Mac. Obviously, a lot of people haven't known who you are, but then they read the book and they just they get the whole, journey that you've gone through.
Correct.
Now, so that's the first piece, like knowing that the book itself is this tool. So like if you're going to give the book away for free, that should be an easy decision for you, because what you're really looking at is that this book is not so much a direct moneymaker that's going to make me my millions or whatever. It's a tool for you to transcend into another room or another location without you physically being there. So that's the first big piece. Now, I'm not against book sales. I think we should push for book sales. Of course, that's important. But my big MO or my big mentality is that you should have something of higher value beyond the book. And if someone reads the book and is like, all right, Mac, you changed my outlook, but I need more of you, or I want to have a closer connection with you, it would be wise for you to have really anything beyond the book for you to ultimately enroll people into. Now, where my line of work is more than ever today is you should develop a consulting or coaching type of program that can bring the book alive and help someone get to that outcome that your book might share, lightly or deeply, but help them kind of expedite that process and get them there a bit faster. That's where you can charge a high ticket dollar amount for that type of interaction. But people do it through many ways. They do it through speaking engagements. They do it through retreats and masterminds. People have courses. So the message is that if you're going to spend all this energy selling the book or selling something of higher value, it's way more valuable for you to spend less time on the thing that's probably going to make you $6 to $10 per transaction, when you can really probably make 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, or what, there's no number, there's no ceiling to what you can charge for something else that's beyond the book. But the book is that tool to get people there. So that's some advice. And then just kind of to, add a little bit more too, you don't need the big audience. You don't need a PR firm to give you the silver bullet. Truthfully, most PR firms are pretty much going to do the work of a VA and a cold email script. And you could do that yourself. You could send out a bunch of podcast interview type of inquiries or speaking engagement inquiries. But you can't be against the hustle. That's a big part of being an author, without the audience or without the backing of a publisher per se. But if you're willing to spread your name and your message and your word, there's 100% a successful path for you that anyone can adopt, that can allow you to create a pretty significant dent, or increase in your income, and a pretty significant increase in kind of your authority and your personal brand.
Wow. Oh, and that's, it's funny you said that, because my ideology when I wrote Ghetto Diamond, it was I never mind having promo copies to give to people. And people are like, man, you giving a copy away? I say, yeah, it's not, I'm not thinking short term. I said the book is only as interesting and valuable as I become. I said that money will come later. It's just my passport to a better room. And I always saw Ghetto Diamond because without Ghetto Diamond, I'm not on TV. If I'm not on TV, then there's no podcast. All of these things
Yeah.
fostered from the book. So what Owen is telling you guys is 100% accurate. Don't don't look at the book as, hey, yeah, okay, yeah, you want to make money, but that's the short term goal. Like you said,
Right.
it's a ticket to punch you into different rooms. Even when you're not there, that book gives value, and books they keep on giving. Somebody else will read it. Somebody else will read it. And when they become interested in you, it's like, well, what else can we get from Mac? What else can we get from Owen? And that's huge to me, man. I always wanted to create an ecosystem, the Mac ecosystem, and the book was just a small part of it, brother.
Yeah, I mean, you have this Mactastic media
Yeah.
business. Like, you could do a million things with this. You can do corporate engagements, you could do small business, you can do podcasts, you can do whatever you want. But you're right, it stems from who you are, and it stems from the book being this first type of, like, door opener type of thing. Like think you could think of it that way. But by all means, the book itself can still earn you a level of income. But
Right.
I like how you said it. It is a short-term type of thinking to make your money, to recoup the full investment in the short term off the book sales. It would be way more valuable for you to think long-term and think, I'm going to create this emotional change in someone after they read my book.
That's right.
There's no reason why they're not going to say, I got to get closer to the author, or I got to hear from them again. And then where you're shooting yourself in the foot is when you don't have something when they ask for it, which I've worked with authors who say they're getting inquiries from corporate and executives to coach them or consult them, but they don't know how to convey their message. So that's the ultimate work that we kind of do. But it's a good, hour or whatever for you to really think of, like, what that looks like for you, and how someone could kind of continue to work with you beyond the book.
Wow. So from your business, what are some of the next, I mean, man, I've watched you evolve since we've met each other. I've watched your business just evolve. Like,
Yeah.
what are some of the new? Yeah, man, you've evolved, dude. I was like, God, look at this guy, man. So, what are some of the new levels? What are new charted territories? What is it that you're looking? Who are you looking to work with now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Short answer for that is we've opened up a new type of service angle to do some LinkedIn ghostwriting for people, to actually take over people's LinkedIn and produce content on their behalf. LinkedIn,
Wow.
I've just come to find to be a pretty interesting platform more than ever. It's becoming more like vulnerable and conversational, almost like a Twitter.
Wow.
But it's still written based. So you don't need to have the whole video shoot or whatever, like Instagram kind of demands, if you're not that type of person, or if you don't have the right equipment. So we're spending some time on LinkedIn. That's been a step in the right direction. But beyond that, it's really to keep pushing this, keep creating these success stories of helping people dial in their messaging around the book and around, like, I'll call it like a value ladder, which is a marketing term that's being said. But, like, if you see the book as that first step in the ladder, like, what comes next, and then what comes next. And, like, there's advice where it's like, you can't sell or close a $25,000 deal or a $50,000 deal if you don't have a $25,000 or $50,000 product. So it's, we could play in that atmosphere, but there's so much in between a $15 book and that type of price tag that you could be impacting so many lives, and you could be making, a lot more money, than, or leverage the money that you're probably leaving on the table around your book. So, the one answer to your question could be, I'm trying to work with the bigger names, but to be honest, that's not even so much a goal. There's been bigger names that have come through my world, and I like to think I treat them all the same. But
You do.
it's at the end of the day, the work we're doing is applicable to someone who just was born yesterday and wrote a book, to someone who's been at it for years on end and has an audience. Like, it's very agnostic to an individual. Like, you don't have to be a certain person to really benefit from the work we're doing. So it's really just to keep impacting lives and meet more authors, and keep doing that.
Well, man, I'm going to be transparent and give you some, I don't know, not flowers, but give you your cigars, man. Because I'm going to tell you one thing I appreciate. I'm not giving you no damn flowers. You're my dog, but I'm not giving you no damn flowers. But I will give you, and you don't want none from me either. But I will say this, man. When I was coming up, and new to the, new, and I was a little hesitant about outside sources helping me market. And you and I had some offline conversations. He said, "Hey, man, I get you're a little hesitant, but I'm going to work with you because I understand you're hesitant, and I'll be fair to you." And you were that, and you did everything you said you were going to do, and a little bit more, which I won't disclose. But then again, I said, "Hey, man, I'm going out. I'm about to go on a TV show. Would you mind interviewing me?" You said, "Mac, for sure, I'll interview you before you get big time." And so I say that to say, you truly are a person that doesn't see, it's not about scale with you. It's not about it's more about, the sincerity of the person, the authenticity, and you can see the passion of who they are, and just being a genuine human being. So I just want to tell you, thank you, man, because that meant a lot to me. I mean, because you interviewed me before anybody. I mean, you did. You could have been like, "Oh, wait, so when's that show coming out again, Mac? All right, well, let me know when it comes out." You didn't do that to me. You said, "Hey, buddy, I trust you. I'll be happy to do that for you before," and you did it. And of course, the show came out, and you and me, we correspond through text. And I said, "Hell, man, I got a couple shows out now, Owen."
It went from 1 to 3 real fast.
Yeah, man. So thank you for being a genuine, great human being, man, and seeing a young author wise, young as in being an author, not as in life, but in saying,
Right.
"Hey, man, I'll wrap my arms around you, I'll embrace you, and I'll be, fair, and I'll be understanding about your hesitancy. Let me show you what I can do." And you brought my book into a different exposure, a different demographic, and I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
No, of course, man. I mean, I appreciate those kind words. That means a lot, and that helps me keep going and know that the work we're doing is beneficial. But I think to that point too, like you're a good case study to some degree, where it's like, you understood marketing, you understood audience building, you understood how to speak to the people. But what we were providing with at least that engagement of getting in front of our audience was exactly that. It was giving you this new type of pond for you to like throw, your bait into, more or less, for a metaphor, and get new fish to see what you're all about. So, yeah, man, it's been a privilege to work with you, get to know you, and I appreciate the vulnerability of you writing your book and sharing it with the world, and now everything that's obviously happening for you now and coming for you next is all well deserved. So, pleasure's mine.
Well, my friend, I know we're coming up on our time, but before we get out of here, I got to ask you some music questions, man.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna throw you off, man. I'm gonna throw you off. I need your top 5 albums of all time. I always give people, catch them off guard. Give me your top 5 albums, any genre. I need your top 5, man.
Man, all right. I have a wide array of music interests for sure.
All right, let's go.
One, I would say, and to be honest, I'm probably going to butcher some of the albums too. I don't know them by the names, but Nothing Was the Same by Mr. Drizzy Drake is definitely up there.
Nice.
I think it's an album, but to jump to rock now, Some Girls, I think, is the name of the Rolling Stones, or whatever album has Some Girls in there. That's a great album. Late to Graduation, Kanye West.
Ooh, that's
great one.
Nice.
To be honest, I listen to a lot of like greatest hits albums too, which I know is kind of cheating, but I have a greatest hits Run DMC album that I've been listening to since I was probably 5 years old, thanks to my dad. So that's top tier. Okay, what else, man? All right, one more.
One more, man. I'll take a greatest hits, man. I mean, even though that's a composite of everything, but I'll take it, brother.
Yeah. All right. Another greatest hits that I do like to tune into is the Piano Man, Billy Joel. He's got some great songs too. So I like to jump around from my hip hop to rock to more of the 80s music and all that, and even beyond that. So,
hey, man, I mean, you're a diverse man. All right, last one. We're going to take it to the hoops. LeBron or Jordan? Who's the GOAT? Uh-oh.
100% Jordan. 100%.
My man.
I mean, listen, LeBron's great. Obviously, I just saw a crazy stat. I don't know if you saw this, but it was about 6 players who have made it to their 21st season in their points that they've averaged. And LeBron's at like 26 points a game. And the next one was like Vince Carter at like 7. And then it just keeps trickling down. So LeBron is deserving of all the success he's had. But without the role model, you can't say there is a LeBron at the level we know him as. So Jordan had to pave the way. So you got to give the credit to him.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna Mike is number one, man. I'm a Chicago guy. I grew up there, and I saw Jordan, and I remember I saw his impact on the game. And when my great grandmother, God bless her soul, who didn't even know nothing about sports, Owen knew who Michael Jordan was. I knew then this guy was different.
For sure. He's impacting all types of lives, and those that watch him or don't, and different sports too, baseball too. So he's done some amazing things for sure.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, anything coming up you want to share with the people, where they can find you, different authors, things like that nature. I'm going to list your Instagram, but I just want to, give you the chance to shout everything out if you want to.
Yeah. For a majority, the past 3-4 years, Unleash the Knowledge has been like the faceless brand that I've been pushing. I'm there, but there's a logo, but I am pushing more of, who I am and my stories. So if you care for it, LinkedIn and Twitter is where I'm spending most of my time for the so-called Owen personal brand. So if you want to check me out there, that works. But if you're looking for your next book, then it's pretty easy to find those through the outlets of Unleash the Knowledge.
Okay. All right then. Well, hey, man, thank you for your time, my friend. I appreciate you stopping through, man. Next time, we're going to have a cigar in real life, man. We're going to film this in real life.
Sounds good.
In person. That'll be even better, but.
For sure. That'll be a good time. All right, Mac, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the time.
All right, man. God bless.